And our first guest this morning is Mr. Marcin Terlik. He's a journalist at Onet. Sir, a pleasure to have you with us this morning. Thanks for joining us. All right, so a lot of people saying that this recent vote at the UN for Palestine by Poland is a significant shift in Poland's stance towards Israel. So before we get to any reactions to the reaction by the Israeli ambassador to Poland, I wanted to ask just simply, is this really a significant shift?
Well, hello, good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Well, it is a shift, but it's not so sudden, and it's not all about the recent vote. Like if we look at the other important vote in UN concerning Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which was in December in General Assembly as well, there was a resolution calling for immediate humanitarian ceasefire that was opposed by Israel and supported by the countries supporting Palestine. And Poland voted it in favor as well. And the distribution of votes was very similar in this vote in December as in this vote now in recent days. So this shift is happening for sure, but it didn't happen last week, in last days. It's been already there for a couple of months.
So why the lack of reaction then, but the strong reaction now?
Well, I think the reaction, you mean the reaction of Israeli ambassador?
I mean, the reaction by Israeli ambassador to Poland, Mr. Yakov Livne.
Yeah, well, I could only guess that it is because of Polish-Israeli relations, and especially relations with Mr. Ambassador Livne became more tense, and maybe tense is too strong word, but difficult after 1st of April and the killing of Polish humanitarian aid worker in Gaza, Damian Sobul. He was killed by Israeli forces. He was killed in a situation that it's hard to explain that it wasn't deliberate, like his car was marked and the path of his route was given to Israeli authorities, and so on and so on. And then the reaction of Israel was, quite, let's say, limited to it in the sense of diplomatic reaction in apologizing Poland and so on and so on. It caused a great uproar and reaction among Polish public, but also in the Polish government. So I think this, and Mr. Livne, ambassador of Israel, was also under heavy critique after his reactions. And I think it's now it's the kind of the next step in this exchange of critique, let's say, between ambassador of Israel and the Polish government.
Well, like you say, certainly these comments have added fuel to the fire by Israeli ambassador to Poland. And I feel like they also sparked some reactions, both domestically but also internationally, which I feel like also complicated Poland's diplomatic landscape here. But my question is, do you think that Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Livne, is he speaking now for himself when he is giving these comments? And mind you, of course, he's a representative of Israel in Poland. Or is he now speaking, now vocalizing the thoughts of Israeli government? How to read this?
Well, I think it's both, but more importantly, I think he's speaking the voice of Israeli government. Like, we have to keep in mind that Israel has the most far-right government in its history right now, that the parties in the coalition, forming the governing coalition, are parties of extreme nationalists, of really far-right conspiracy theories, and so on. It's really, quite particular bunch of people, and Mr. Ambassador is representing them, and he's also, so in this sense, but also what you said, he's speaking as of himself. Of course, ambassador is not speaking as just a person. He's speaking on behalf of the country. But I think Mr. Livne can also think about like political career in Israel. I think it's not a secret that he had and probably he has such ambitions still. So some things he says are maybe thought as how they will be appreciated, perceived by Israeli public. And Israeli public is becoming more and more nationalist, more and more right-wing, more and more bellicose. And Poland is not a popular country in Israel for sure. So being, let's say, assertive or aggressive, depending how you see it, towards Poland, I think you can score some points in Israeli domestic policies.
All right, we'll see. We can end with the